Hey everyone, today we are talking about maybe the most controversial patch in Asheron's Call history, which is Master at Arms. Master of Arms. This is the patch that changed the weapon skills, remade the individual weapon skills into the end of retail weapon skills that we are playing with now. Heavy weapons, light weapons, finesse weapons, and missile weapons. And I think it's one of the things I see a lot posted on Reddit, which is people who come back to the game, didn't play End of Retail, and really want that original experience that they had from, 99, 2000 of playing an axe character, a staff character. A lot of people had their character's identity tied up in these weapon skills, the original weapon skills, and for good reason. I mean, I had a staff character, and that's what it was to me. It was a staff character. So this patch has a lot of negative reactions from the community, and still negative reactions today. Some of the reaction, I think, is that nostalgia, like I was talking about, thinking back to the year 2000 and your UA character who was running around with a hollow guitar. Like, people like thinking about those times. And then I think some of the reaction is just the way that this patch was implemented, which is that it was implemented really poorly. They didn't do a good job of explaining which quest weapons, or really balancing which quest weapons went to which new weapon skill. So for instance, if you look at light weapons, the Atlan, the assault spear is a light weapon, but the singularity, it's the mace. And they just, I think, could have been better served by having some consistency in how they switch the weapons from their original skills to their new skills. And from Turbine's perspective, I kind of understand why they wanted to combine the skills, because having 4 skills instead of 11 skills, I think there were 11 pre-patch skills. There was bow, crossbow, thrown weapons that became missile weapons, and then there was sword, axe, mace, spear, staff, UA, and dagger. So that's 10. So that 10 skills down to 4. Implementing new quest weapons, if the game had continued longer, would have been way easier and just easier for them to balance. And like, I get it. Again, I just think the problem was that they didn't do it well. They didn't balance it well in how they implemented this patch. So something that I think could have worked better is, instead of having heavy, light, finesse each have all 7 types of weapons fall within them, what they could have done is been like sword and axe become heavy weapons. So if you choose heavy weapons, you can get swords and axes. If you get light weapons, you could get maybe mace, spear, and staff. And if you did finesse, you would get UA and dagger. And maybe doing it that way, people wouldn't have been so upset with the changes. Or what they could have done, and they kind of tried to do this, they being Turbine, tried to do this a bit with the skills like dirty fighting, recklessness, sneak attack, but I think they needed to do it more, is give each of the weapons a feel for why they were different. A lot of these original weapon skills kind of fell by the wayside. Like for me, I played a staff character. It was such a gimpy character because staff was so bad. And the good thing about this is that, if you played a sword character before, sword didn't have access to bludgeoning damage. So by turning that into heavy weapons, now you have access to bludgeoning damage because you could use a mace or whatever. So I think there were, again, some good things to this. Now, they could have tried to implement something like what New World did, where each skill has a distinct, each weapon type, I should say, has a distinct feel to it. And maybe that's beyond what they were capable of doing at that time. And maybe that's something that can happen as Asheron's Call on the emulator continues. But I just wanted to talk about this patch because I do think, while it's controversial, I think the underlying idea was good. It was just implemented poorly, and that maybe that's something that, again, through the emulator and the game continuing on, that can get kind of corrected over time through custom content. And one last thing that I want to talk about is missile weapons. So what happened with missile weapons is that bow got a huge, huge buff from this patch, because bow used to cost 8 skill credits to train and 8 skill credits to spec, and missile weapons costs 6. Yeah, so missile weapons cost 6 and 6. So that's a huge buff to bow, because you can still use bow when you use missile weapons, but you get that decrease in the skill credit cost. And that's why I think sometimes bow feels a little bit overpowered currently on the emulator or in that end of retail scenario. So just something else I wanted to mention, and maybe something that they should have thought about a little bit more before they combined bow into this missile weapon skill, or they should have kept the 8/8 skill credit cost. I think that's going to be it for this video. Please let me know in the comments what you think about the Master at Arms patch, what you think could have been done better, and what you think maybe could be done better going forward to kind of give this a better feel. That's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching.